You're gonna be just fine.
I just talk, I just talk.
Listen to them, children of the night.
Sic transit gloria.
Thrill me.
Hello, everyone. Tonight, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this podcast Kill the Cast. And my name is Jerry, and joining me is the ever-quotable Jay.
And you just ruined my quote. Thank you very much.
Good. Fuck you. My quote now, bitch.
I was going to say, submitted for the approval of the Kill the Cast audience. This episode is entitled, Are You Afraid of the Dark? But
I like Jay's
can't
better.
say that now.
Well, you know what? Fuck you, Kenneth, for liking his better. I almost ran that by you because I was like, I wonder if he did like the generic quote or if he did something specific from his episode.
No, I didn't think, because with there being 70 episodes and nothing, since it's an anthology show, I wouldn't really think that anybody would have gotten anything from any specific episode.
That's fair. And also joining us is the Silent Hill biker himself, Kenneth.
Hi, trying to get my pipe lit.
Get your pipe lit. Lighting a match for Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yes, this episode we are doing 3 episodes from Are You Afraid of the Dark. We each picked an episode, and we will be reviewing that. But before we do that, Jay, what you been up to?
I got the second session done on my Freddy and Jason half sleeve, so Freddy is already in the peeling phase. One more for the detail on their weapons and some a background for them, and then that'll be done. Working, playing some video games. I'm going to go see Scary Stories tomorrow. That should be good.
Okay, dope. Kenneth, what have you been up to?
Y'all have already talked about this, but I went and saw Crawl.
Hell yeah.
That was damn good. And other than that, not really nothing, just kind of working.
What did you tell Jay what movie you said Crawl was?
Oh, it was 47 meters down in a swamp.
In a swamp?
Well,
or under somebody's house. I mean, in a hurricane in Florida. Let's go with that. That's exactly what it was.
I don't feel like that's accurate.
That's exactly what it was. You got all right. In 47 meters down, you had 2 people underneath at the bottom of the ocean trying not to get eaten by sharks.
Hold on. You have to say this without spoilers. So keep it.
I'm not going to give any of the
friendly.
end of it. All right. Yeah. You got 2 people that are stuck at the bottom of the ocean trying not to get eaten by sharks. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. In fucking Crawl, you've got people stuck under a house trying not to get eaten by alligators.
For one part of the movie.
What are you talking about for one part of the movie?
Okay.
That's like 2. Okay.
I gotta agree with Kenneth on this one. It is the primary part of the movie. I actually agree with Kenneth's sentiment. Though I would rather much watch Crawl again than I would 47 Meters Down. Though I did like 47 Meters Down, I just think Crawl was a bit more entertaining.
And would you like for me to go even further into what I said about 47 meters down?
Maybe we'll make a new episode about this.
When Crawl comes out on Blu-ray, we might have to do Crawl. So
There you go. We can do
full
Crawl
into
versus 47
spoilers.
meters.
Oh, Horror Coliseum Crawl versus 47 Meters Down. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fucking cool, and it'd be awesome to do 2
Newer
fairly
movies?
new movies.
Yeah. All right.
That would be pretty good.
So besides seeing Crawl, anything else from you?
Other than that, no, not really. I mean, finally getting caught up on my Marvel. Other than that, no, not really.
Okay, dope. I am on new medicine that makes me piss like once an hour, but it is working. My blood sugar is down, so that's fucking great news. I have been watching Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, and it's fucking fantastic. And I think that's about. Oh, I am working on my Halloween costume, and there will be pictures incoming. But I want to tell the story real quick. So I'm going as Sam Neill's character in the Mouth of Madness, specifically when he's dressed in like the scrubs and he's got the crosses all over him. But I wanted to like kind of have a little extra like flavor to it. So I was like, someone on the internet has had to have like made one of these books that I can buy. It's got to be on Etsy or eBay or something. Fucking nowhere. No Etsy, no eBay, no fucking Amazon, no fucking Craigslist, Facebook, nothing. I went to Reddit and I found a 2-year-old post on Reddit where someone actually made the books. And I was like, let me check. The user posted, like in the last month, so I was like, fuck it. I'm messaging him. I message him, and he agrees to make me books. So I just had a bunch of these books made. When they come in, I, of course, will post them in the Facebook group. But I'm going to have Sutter Kane books as my props for this.
That's pretty dope.
So I'm pretty excited for my Halloween costume. I know not as many people are going to get it, but the true fucking super duper horror fans will know what's going on.
Plus, conventions. You could wear it to conventions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
for
would
sure.
be pretty cool for fucking Days of the Dead next year.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be fucking awesome. I may end up doing it.
I got the last piece to my costume today, actually. So after we're done recording, I'm going to try it all on.
Dope.
You got to remind me to go look through my makeup stuff, Jerry.
Oh, yeah, I do. I was supposed to text you about that like today, but I didn't.
Yeah, remind me.
Oh, well. So let's get into it. Now, this episode is completely set up.
Weirdly.
Yeah, weirdly is a good way. Okay, so Jay picked this episode. So I'm gonna let Jay kind of in a second kind of talk about his history with Are You Afraid of the Dark. But for people who don't know, Are You Afraid of the Dark is a Canadian horror fantasy themed anthology television series that was on YTV and Nickelodeon. It aired from 1990 to 1996, and for a second run from 1990 to 2000. The original series was created by DJ McHale and Ned Candle and was picked up by Nickelodeon in 1991. So, Jay, why did you want to do an episode on Are You Afraid of the Dark, and what's kind of your history with it?
So it was actually suggested by our good friend Heather. She was like, yeah, I should do an episode on this. I was like, oh, yeah, I love that show. So it was just a good idea. But I grew up with this show. I vaguely remember watching the premiere one Halloween. 1 October is when it came out, and watching the first episode. But it is basically Tales from the Crypt for kids. There's no real gore or anything. The makeup effects are pretty standard TV.
Actually, there is some gore in this series. As I was doing some research and kind of looking through, there's some pretty what the episode Tale of the Dead Man's Float. A kid died, and the zombie is like all red and raggedy, and like you can straight up see bones. There's another episode where there's a guy and half his fucking face is burnt off. I'd actually say that this series is if Goosebumps is if you would go, if you're introducing a child to horror, you kind of go, here's Scooby-Doo. They like that. You're like, okay, here's Goosebumps. They make it through like that. Okay, now the final test is, are you afraid of the dark?
Oh.
I thought about letting Jade watch some of them.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of cool because we'll talk about an episode later where, it does not have a happy ending. And like I said, in Tale of the Dead Man's Float, which we unfortunately will not be covering, but maybe a volume 2, a kid straight up dies. He's drowned. So there's some pretty brutal fucking shit in here.
Well, so I was gonna say I just don't remember there being too much visual gore, but I remember a lot of the stories being fairly mature. Like you said, there's the one that the kid dies. A lot of them don't have happy endings, which makes me happy. Some of them are happy, but a lot of them aren't. And some of them have really good twists too, which always make me happy.
Yeah.
When the writing on a children's show is really good. But I watched this show religiously when it was out originally. I rewatched it maybe 10, 12 years ago. I re-downloaded it and watched some of it then. And now I kind of want to watch it all again that I have it for this episode. But I love this show. And it was definitely a good intro into horror for me. I think it made it really easy for me to digest Tales from the Crypt after this.
When did Tales from the Crypt start?
I can find out.
1989.
You're quicker than I am.
Yeah, well, because I was wondering, because I know, because a lot of the people who worked on Are You Afraid of the Dark, their inspiration comes directly from the Twilight Zone, submitted for the approval of, that's from the Twilight Zone. That's from Rod Sterling. he would say that.
You're right.
They've done a lot of the stuff they do in the series. Some of them are direct nods to stories that were in Twilight Zone. So like, it's kind of funny. I guess like, I've watched more Twilight Zone than I have Tales from the Crypt. So for me, when I watched these 3 episodes, I immediately was like, oh my, yeah, this is this is Twilight Zone for children. That's immediately what I went to. But I have not watched as much Tales from the Crypt as most people. I probably should watch more, but I guess
I've seen the whole
Didn't you
series.
snag that box set when they were cheap?
No, that was when I was broke as hell and did not.
I put them in the drive.
Yeah, but so
Because I've got the whole series.
what, downloaded?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. But yeah, this show. One of the cool things I like about this is it does a lot of adaptations of like fairy tales and urban legends. Like with the Tale of the Twisted Claw, which was like the first episode, is the monkey's paw.
Right. Yep.
So I really liked some of that stuff, and sometimes the Midnight Society kids, I really like having them in there because it kind of has a, how do you say it? Like, it makes me feel comfortable when I watch these 3 episodes back to back to back, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm joining these kids again. It's not like Goosebumps where it's a single story every single time. This is a single story every single time, but I have, these kids, and I really liked how...
Yeah, the reoccurring characters.
Yeah, and I liked how they would do things that would be like kind of a mini setup for what the story was going to be.
Yeah, like almost like a wraparound on like anthology
Yeah,
movies.
like, for example, in the episode The Tale of the Crimson Clown, one of the brothers blackmails his other brother with a poem he wrote for a girl, and then the whole episode is about what happens when a naughty younger brother is like punished for messing with his older brother in an evil way. It's one of those other ones that did not have a happy ending, which is one of the things that I thought was really cool, especially going into the first episode we are going to talk about. So I am going to hand it over to you, Jay. Oh, well, Kenneth, did you watch Are You Afraid of the Dark as a kid?
I watched some. I mean, I wasn't able to catch as much of it as I would have liked to, but I actually did watch quite a few of them. It was one of those that I really look forward to seeing, but I never could catch it at the right time because I grew up in the woods, so I didn't have cable a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then other things like, I wouldn't be home when it was on, or I'd already be asleep or some shit like that. Any of those things that keep you from catching a running show like we do now, where we fucking put goddamn reminders on our phones and shit for shows now.
Oh, for sure. I know for me, I didn't watch as much as a kid. Like for me as a kid, like one of the horror shows I watched was Erie, Indiana.
That was a good show.
I was
too.
really into that one. But I started X-Files pretty young, so I was kind of already into X-Files. But I
never
do
got
remember
into
seeing
X-Files.
it. X-Files is fucking fantastic. I love it.
I remember when X-Files came out. I remember all of us in school were looking forward to when X-Files was coming out.
That episode with the fucking flute worm man?
Dude, that shit fucking freaked me out when I was a kid, man.
Or the fucking Tooms character, the guy who could like... looked like he had fucking jaundice and could like squeeze his body into anything.
Right. To me, it was the two episodes of X-Files that I remember the most from when I was around that age was the Fluke Man, and then the one that was kind of set up like The Thing, where they had those parasites or whatever.
Oh my god, that one, and the one that they literally showed once on TV, and luckily enough I caught it, but then they never really showed it again, which was about like the incest family that they find out on that farm. Mm-hmm. That episode was fucked up. But we're not talking about X-Files, damn it. Maybe one day we'll do a this kind of episode except for X-Files. But for now, we are doing Are You Afraid of the Dark? So, Jay, lead us in, because your episode that you picked shows up before Kenneth and mine. So we are letting you go first.
Okay, so I'm going to ask our fans to forgive me if I'm terrible at leading a show, but we'll give it a shot here. So my episode was The Tale of the Pinball Wizard. This is episode 13 from season 1, so the season finale.
November 14th, 1992 premiere date.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, look at you having more information than I do about my own episode.
Also, Kenneth, when we get to your episode, because my episode and your episode, the whatever number it said it was in that season that Jay gave us is not the right number. So,
well, mine says it was episode number 11, and the air date was September 11th, 1993.
if you got that off the fandom website, it's much better because the one that was on the title for that of the videos Jay gave us were not correct. The first one was.
This one just came straight up on Google.
Okay, cool. Anyway, Jay, continue to lead us through this journey.
So, this episode starts with the Midnight Society. One of the kids is playing a Game Boy game. Another one of the kids comes up and resets it on him, incorrectly, I might add.
Well, okay, first of all, there's no game in the back of that Game Boy. It's not
Yes,
using...
there is.
No, there are shots where there's no game in the back of that Game Boy.
I was pretty sure I saw a game. but-
It's using generic noises that do not come from a Game Boy. And there is no fucking reset button on a Game Boy.
Well, yeah. But he's like, oh, I was so close. And they start talking about games. And the other person's like, oh, you don't know how to play games. Or, no, that's not what they say. God damn it, I'm terrible at this. He
The girl
says,
makes fun of him
I
for being
don't
into
understand
games.
why you guys play those games, is
Yeah.
what she says. And so that leads into the story about a kid who really, really likes pinball. And so he hangs out at a mall in this little antique store where they have a antique pinball machine out front that he plays. He asks the owner if he can have a job. He's like, they present it as if he's been talking to him a few times about this, and the guy's like, nah, you're not
Fuck you,
responsible enough. What?
Fuck you, kid.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. He's like, no, I'm totally responsible. I can do this job easily. He's like, all you care about is pinball. And then the guy has to go to lunch. So he's like, I can watch the store for you, and then you can give me a job if I'm good. And the guy's, okay, I'll give you a shot. Just don't touch the pinball machine in the back room because it's not finished and you can't play it. And, of course, he does the complete opposite of that and decides to play the pinball machine anyway. Sometime during this guy's lunch, a girl comes in to pick up her music box. He has no idea if it's done or not, lies to her about working in the store, then finally tells her the truth. She says she'll come back later, so he goes right back to his pinball machine. And then it's nighttime, and he's trapped in the mall. And that's when the fun starts.
All right, so real quickly, I want to talk about the kid's name is Ross Campbell. The guy who owns the shop is Mr. Olson. And the girl is Sophia. And when the kid first shows up at the mall, he does the classic thing of going to the payphones to see if there's a quarter, and then he goes to the fucking wishing well and takes a quarter out of there, but a homeless lady fights him over the fucking quarter. That was hilarious to me.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was yeah. And then the security guards are like, "Hey, stop!" And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go now."
Yeah. Another cool thing that I thought of that happened in this is when Ross is talking to Olsen about the job, Ross brings up another kid where he's like, oh, I won't get fired like that kid. And you immediately, if you look at Olsen's face, he kind of weirds out and kind of continues the conversation, which makes you go later on in the episode, you kind of will go back to that line and just go, oh shit, he fucked that kid.
Yeah.
Well, not fuck that kid, but he did something to that kid. He wasn't fucking the kid, but he did something to the children.
Yeah.
On that pinball machine.
I didn't really care for it. I didn't think it looked all that great.
I was talking about him fucking the kid up against the pinball machine.
Oh, well, sometimes you got to tilt the pinball machine.
Hell yeah, tilted!
That's true.
Do you know on the digital pinball machines, like the one my dad made, they actually have a thing where you can tilt the table?
Yes. Yep, they do. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, so now Ross is waking up in the mall that is closed and it's dark outside. Where are we going to next, Jay?
Well, so he goes to the doors. They're locked. My mom's going to kill me. What is the first thing that happens now?
He hears a phone ring, and he
That's
goes
right.
to answer it, and something said, but I could not catch what the fuck it was that was said.
I could. Was it not Sophie telling him that he has to come find her?
It was the Ying Yang Twins doing their song Whisper.
There you go.
But because immediately after that, a coin falls into the Fallon, and that's when he
Into
sees,
the Fallon?
Yeah, into the Jimmy Fallon. It falls right into his ass.
Then he turns on.
No, but like right after that, we have like the Men in Black type android thing that shows up.
Here come the Men in Black.
Yes, there's weird androids that he rips one of their hands off by accident, and that's when he finds out that water is how you stop those people, because some spills out, right, and then they can't get by. So he's like, oh, okay, water.
You should just
He
beat on him.
makes his way up the escalator to the second floor.
Well, hold on. Before you go there, you got to talk about... so this is when actually Sophie shows up.
Okay.
And you realize she is the princess, and she drops the key for him. She's like, you have to get the tiara from the vault. But she dropped the key, like, in the middle of the fucking androids. So he's got to, like, splash water at the fucking androids. And he opens, like, a locker and gets slimed. He opens another locker, and he gets gassed. He opens another locker, and he finds a hairband that will be the thing that turns into the tiara.
Yeah,
Which
that's
causes
right.
the escalator.
And I know
to work,
all
then
this.
he goes up to number 2.
And I know all this, and I'm just terrible at this.
I will say though, I liked the little obstacles that he had to go through. You know, where they were doing their best to set up video game obstacles. I mean, obviously, you know, when this came out, we were nowhere near the video game obstacles that we have now in games. But I still like it. You know, like especially the lockers. I thought that was pretty good.
I really liked that when he was playing the pinball game in the back room, they never show the board, which kind of pisses me off, but he tells like what he has to do, because in pinball, if you're dumb like me and you play pinball, you just hit the flippers a lot and you don't know what's going on, but there's actual things you're supposed to do.
Yeah, there's a way to proceed in the game. There's not really a way to win, but there are different objectives, even in older pinball.
Really,
Yes.
I'm with Jerry on this. Maybe I need somebody to come and fucking be the pinball wizard and show me how to do this.
Wow.
When I was at my dad's last, I was, playing the pinball, and he was just like looking at me like I'm fucking an idiot. Because he's like, you're supposed to do this and this. If you listen, the game is telling you what to do. Because it does. Most games will actually
Shoot the right ramp.
Shoot the right ramp to get it. Knock out all the numbers or blah, blah, like, whatever. Like, I was playing the Game of Thrones one, and you have to, like, hit each...
Fuck your sister.
Yeah, you fuck your sister, and then you come to where you can hit the other house's flags. No, you have to hit their flags. You're disrespecting the other houses.
Oh, okay.
And then after you do that, you do other shit. So in this one, like, he has
Your
to,
dad has a way of when he's telling somebody something, like, for some reason, your dad always makes me feel like I'm dumb because he's so smart.
Yeah.
So I was like, when your dad's teaching me something, I'm like, it's informative, and I love the fact that he's teaching it to me. But I always feel like I'm just like, man, I am so stupid.
I feel like that's why I have to do, like, research when we come to these episodes, because I have a complex where, like, I can't let anyone be smarter than me on the episode.
Well, you're definitely outshining me.
But it's because I have a complex because my dad's so smart, and every time I talk to him, I literally, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, I feel like I'm mentally retarded. I feel like I have a learning disability and I can't, like, have smart conversations with him because I just feel fucking, like, just ignorant on everything.
Especially if it's something that like to us, it's like fucking a different language. And like if you ask him about fucking computers or something, yeah, to me, it's like a fucking completely different language when I get in there. And when he starts talking to me in that different language, I want to sit there and I want to look at him. I'm like, Kevin, man, fucking English, dude.
For real. But yeah, okay. So, the hairband turns into a tiara, and he actually goes upstairs to the quote-unquote second level.
And his quarters turn into pinballs. Well, balls, marbles, whatever, but they look like pinballs.
Fuck that. They called that shit marbles. That shit is pinballs. How are you going to write an episode called Tale of the Pinball Wizard and call them marbles?
Yeah, I don't know. I will point something out. So,
That's true.
What I really liked, out on the bottom level, the benches actually look like pinball bumpers, which is kind of neat.
I didn't see that.
I did like that.
I should probably not write a whole fucking biography when I'm taking notes and maybe watch the episodes more.
Well, you actually remember the plot, so
I have everything. Like literally, listen to this. Okay. Now the escalator works. Hairband turns into a tiara. While chasing Sophie, he runs into the witch and is told to get the throne. The witch blows him back and steals the tiara. He goes after the music box and finds Sophie chained to a chair. He sets her free with a key. Like, that's literally just, like, going from the escalator to setting her free. Like, I take fucking, like, full notes breaking down what's happening. And I really don't have to. I could go online and find the whole fucking breakdown of the entire episode.
Yeah, I was just fixing to say, did you plagiarize the fandom site? Because that's damn near what it said.
No, because I don't go to those sites until after I've watched it. I do all my research after I've watched the thing if I've never watched it before.
Interesting.
So they use like full sentences, and I don't really often use full sentences.
You just use your shorthand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't talk about my hand being short. That's rude. So anyway, tell us what happens on the second level.
I don't know. Some stuff.
That witch looked like a fucking goddamn. I would just have to say this.
When does he sit in the chair and it takes him to the elevator where he gets fucked again?
We're not near that.
Oh, is this when he runs into the witch in the hallway then?
Yes.
Okay, so he runs into the witch in the hallway. She takes his crown, blows him out.
I'm sorry, I have to say this. She reminds me of the fucking dollar store Deadite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's exactly what the witch reminds me of. When I was seeing it, I was just like, this is like the Kmart Deadite.
That's funny.
You know,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn.
Oh, before they kill us in the comments, S-Smart Deadite.
There you go. There you go.
That's funny. Yeah. So he gets blown out of the door, and miraculously, he's back down on the lower level again. So he has to start all over.
Because
this
witch
time,
stole the tiara.
Yeah. Yes, I said that. I think. This time, a knight comes out, right, when he gets to the second floor? Or whenever he is?
So first he goes after the music box, and that's where he finds Sophie chained to a chair. He then starts jacking off like it's Neon Genesis Evangelion. He sets her free with the key, and they get the box, and that's when they are attacked by an executioner with a mace.
What's in the fucking box?
The throne.
Frosted Flakes, man. Damn. So yeah, the executioner with a mace shows up.
That's right, the executioner. He takes Sophie but leaves his mace.
So they play the throne and the tiara disappears, so they hide the throne in a trash can, and the executioner attacks. And Sophie tells Ross to get the mace. They get the mace and they escape, and they find the tiara floating, and then the witch finds them. That's when Sophie's like, marbles? So they throw the fucking pinballs at the bimbo.
That's right. Then she trips and explodes into blood and guts. This show is way more violent than art. No, I'm just kidding. She does slip and fall, and that's how they defeat the witch for this encounter anyway. And then he takes the throne and puts it... No? Damn it.
The red-robed man grabs Sophie. And now Ross does have the throne and the tiara, and he gets to go to the third level. So the red robe man is really important because he's kind of the boss. He's our evil villain, and now he has Sophie. So he goes to the third level now, and that's where he puts the throne down, and the throne grows into a full size, and the tiara turns into a crown.
That's right. And then he sits in the throne, and it takes him through the mall,
where he runs over that bitch, the witch.
Yeah, he runs over the witch. It ends with him in front of the red robe guy and the executioner. The executioner throws him into the elevator, which sends him back down to level 1. And I think this is when he sees the mace and uses that to arm himself with different weapons, right?
Yeah, so he breaks open the glass where the super soaker was we saw in the beginning of the episode. So now he's got a fucking super soaker.
Yes. So he takes Super Soaker, makes his way back up to the level, kills the executioner with the Super Soaker. The red robe guy knocks the Super Soaker out of his hand and says, the game's not over till everyone's dead. Then the kid pulls out the tiny little Super Soaker, the little squirt gun, and says that when it's a game, I can make any rules I want or something to that effect, and kills the red robe guy, saves Sophie, super happy about it. They celebrate, then everything resets again, and he's like, wait, I won. This shouldn't be like this. He looks up and sees Mr. Olson, the store owner, looking down at him through the pinball machine and pulling the plunger back and getting ready to play another game. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, well, we go back to the Midnight Society.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about those guys.
No one wants the Game Boy. I want it, but no one else does.
Yeah, I do want it, too.
And the nerdy guy who looks like me says, just make sure the game doesn't get you. And then he puts out the fire because fire safety.
Yeah, well, always fire safety. Only you can prevent forest fires.
Yeah. So, that's a breakdown from Jay. Jay, we will let you go first on how you overall felt about the episode.
Okay. So, sorry for my terrible walkthrough.
And why you picked it. Let's throw that there.
Sorry for my terrible walkthrough. I didn't even think about that being part of leading my own episode. I do remember all of that. Once you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. So that's how my brain works. But so I chose this episode for a couple different reasons. One, I'm a huge fan of pinball and video games in general, and the thought of being trapped in a video game, or a pinball machine for this matter, is pretty terrifying, because there's used for entertainment and pleasure so much that if you were trapped in one forever and you couldn't escape and you were forced to basically live the life as a character consciously, that'd be a terrible existence. It's also one that I saw a lot, like during reruns and stuff, so it's one that stuck out in my mind. Like there's probably maybe 5 to 10 episodes I can name plot-wise that stick out of my head, and this is one of them. So being a big fan of video games, being a big fan of pinball, and liking the concept of the episode, I also remember that the ending was super bleak, where he's pretty much fucked. And I like that for a kid's show, because it's not usually, usually you have your happy endings, and this was not happy at all. So that was cool. But yeah, I really like the concept. I felt the special effects were fun. The episode itself is fun, and the ending not being happy is great to me.
Very nice. Yeah, I thought this one was a really fun episode. It doesn't feel quite horror until like the very end of it, but the ending of it's so fucking just dark that you're like, oh man, if Mr. Olson really does fuck kids and he fucks the kid on top of the pinball, this kid's got to watch it.
Right?
Like that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But overall, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. And like watching this made me kind of go, you know what? I really want to, I can't wait for my next episode, because I was watching all three back to back to back with pauses in between them, because after I'd watch the episode, I'd do my research. And then I'd go on to the next one. But I was really excited about this one. I really fucking enjoyed it. Kenneth, what about you?
It was fun. I mean, like I said, there was the setups for the fucking obstacles and shit that he had to go through was pretty cool. I'm with you. I really like the fact that it had a dismal ending, that it wasn't all happy and stuff like that. So, but overall, it was fun. I mean, there were things that I didn't like about it, but I had to keep telling myself, okay, this was a fucking kids show.
Yeah, the main character Ross, I thought he was kind of bland. He was a little whiny. I really didn't like him. I was like, you're just mad because your mom won't buy you a pair of Jinkos.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, overall, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was worth watching. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I mean, it's one of those things that that I have to keep telling myself that it's a kid's show. But I did like the fact that it probably wasn't the first, but it was one of the earlier instances of seeing how you combine fucking, kids loving video games and it becoming part of real life and stuff their real life and stuff like that. So the immersion into video games and stuff like that, I thought was really cool, because it's like an earlier portrayal of that, but not like an extreme Tipper Gore fucking stupid portrayal of that. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Oh, for sure. So, some fun facts about this episode. This was the most difficult episode out of the series to produce and took the longest to film. DJ McHale, who you'll remember is one of the creators, actually pleaded with the crew to break union rules and work an extra day, and the crew unanimously agreed to work a day of overtime to help finish the episode. This was the first episode to not show a scene with the Midnight Society discussing the story partway through the telling, which I have to say, fantastic idea. Do not break up the story with that, because we already have to have it broken up with commercials. We don't need to see the kids again whatsoever.
Yeah, see, I didn't like that in my episode.
Yeah, exactly. A.J. Henderson, who portrayed Mr. Olson, had just appeared 2 episodes before in the tale of The Dark Music and portrayed the short part of the Carnival Barker. Tom Rack, who also co-wrote this episode and appeared as the security guard, and the sheriff also appeared later in the series as the Watcher in the tale The Watcher of the Woods. The members of the Midnight Society take turns playing an original Game Boy game. The cartridge that slips in and out of the Game Boy looks like a Tetris, but the sound effects sound like Donkey Kong 1981, which was never an original Game Boy. And I looked this up and did a little research in this. It does kind of sound like Donkey Kong, but it sounds like the Atari 2600 version, not like the NES version. So I kind of looked in that too a little bit, because I was like, that doesn't sound like Donkey Kong arcade. It doesn't sound like Donkey Kong NES. And I went and looked, and it does sound like the Atari version.
I just assumed it was fucking generic video game noises.
Pretty much, yeah. Gary, who told the story, was portrayed by Ross Hull. Coincidentally, his character, Gary, told a story about a character named Ross. The episode marked the last time Eric appeared. The reason for this departure was never explained. He is actually
He got cancer.
He did not get cancer. He got fucked by Dr.
No, the character got
Mr.
cancer
Olson.
and died, and then the friends never talked to him about it.
I think he got fucked by Mr. Olson. And this is also the second time a character from the Midnight Society breaks the fourth wall, with Gary at the end of it saying, "Till next time." So, pretty dope little interest. I really thought I'd be able to find more about some of this stuff, but I really couldn't. And most of the actors really haven't done all that much besides just being like generic character actors. So, whatever. We move on to mine. The Tale of the Midnight Madness, Season 2, Episode 2. Air date, June 26, 1993. Now, I want to start off by saying this. I didn't remember too much from Afraid of the Dark and cannot remember a single episode off the top of my head. So, I was like, let me ask a couple people, and I asked, like, Heather. Heather gave me a bunch of good episodes, but I didn't end up using them. I ended up using an episode that was told to me by my buddy Jerry. She was like, oh, there's an episode that's fucking Nosferatu in a movie theater. And I was like, fucking sold. That's the one I'm doing. So I chose that one without watching the episode. I just took her word for it that it was fantastic. And Jerry, you were 100% correct. So we are going to start. The kids show up and they've got tickets to Fright Night, baby. Triple feature. Horror, gore, blood. It's going down. But then they're told that if you sit into a theater for so long, you forget the world outside. And you only know the horror that's on the screen. And with that, we get a tale about a movie theater. And this movie theater is called the Rialto. And it's not making much money.
No.
Pete, a young black kid, is trying to save the place, but it just seems that no one cares. So him and, what's her name? Katie, I believe. Him and Katie are there early one day to set everything up. They're an hour early, and the door starts to shake. Someone's trying to get in, but they aren't open for another hour. And when Pete decides to finally open the door opens by itself, and Dr. Vink shows up. Katie wants to call the cops. The manager wants to kick him out, but Dr. Vink, he wants to save the theater, and it won't cost you a dime. And no, he's not a nutbag.
Vink.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Vink, yes, Dr. Vink, come tell me all your stories that you made back in the silent era, yes. That's how I picture a big fan of his talking.
That was kind of sexy. Jerry.
I'm hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I just? Wonder how long I can do that. Hold on. All right. Okay. Where was I at? He used to make movies back before sound and color. He swipes his cape and a film canister appears. The movie is about a vampire who wins. Oh, how naughty. Yes, it is. Oh. All the guy wants in return for making them successful is one night a week to show his films, which I think is pretty fair. I think you should let him do it. But, no. Wow. They are showing an adult. Oh. They show the manager like looking over the receipts shit, and he like straight up pulls out a flask and starts drinking it, and I'm like, yo, this is a children's TV show.
That's fucking great.
Also, there's a poster in the back for This Island Earth, which is fucking dope. And then he finds out that the theater's gonna close in 2 weeks, so he tells the kids, yo, it's gonna close in 2 weeks. So while they're showing another movie, there's a handful, and there's this old lady that keeps coming, she's kind of a bitch. But maybe that'll change. So the film breaks in the projector. So they decide, fuck it, we're going to show the vampire flick, which is called Nosferatu, the Demon Vampire. Or in German, Nosferatu, the Demon Vampire, yes. I like it so much. I wonder how many people are going to get really annoyed at me doing that voice.
I love it. I think it's great. I was trying to stifle my laughter when you were doing your little bit just a minute ago. It's fucking awesome.
So the people loved it, yes, and no one wanted a refund because they were like, if you don't like the movie, you can just get a refund. And they were like, oh, but we really liked it, even though it was a black and white silent film, which Jay has probably never watched a silent film because Jay doesn't watch anything before the 80s. Oh, yeah.
That's not true,
Oh,
damn
it's
it.
so true. I heard you wouldn't watch a movie unless Keanu
I just
Reeves
haven't
was
watched
there.
a lot of them. Was this actual footage from Nosferatu?
No, it was not. But the guy who played the vampire, he is actually a vampire in another movie. He's in those fantastic Twilight movies. Oh, yes.
What?
He plays a vampire in the Twilight movies. The movies with
Which character?
The guy who played the fucking vampire in the
Twilight
Nosferatu.
character?
I don't know because I just jack off when I watch the movies. I don't actually pay attention to what's going on. Someone takes off their shirt. I'm like, ooh la la.
I did think I like the idea that they fucking used a name from a classic silent film.
Well, it's what is that word that I can't remember right now?
Fear.
Where anybody public domain. Nosferatu's public domain, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Nosferatu. I think Nosferatu is public domain at this point.
But no, it wasn't footage from the original movie.
I wasn't sure because the dialogue cards were words from the movie. I know that.
Fair. So yeah, the people loved it, and there's some hugging between Petey and Kate. I'm kind of digging it. And then we get a random shot.
Totally wants the BBC.
Probably. I want it with a little side of popcorn. So the canister we get a shot of the canister opening a bit, and it glows red. We get a break as we go back to the campfire, which no one cares about. So we go back. It is a Saturday night horror show that has become successful, and they didn't shut down. And we get to see and hear how the vampire actually gets Hawker and wins, which is great. And then we go to Pete trying to convince Katie to go on a date. He's like, yo, I really like you, and we should totally go on a date. And she's like, you listen to that new 50 Cent album? That's not actually what happened. She
did express that she wants the BBC.
Oh, yeah. She does later on. So at this point, Dr. Vink shows up, and the manager wants to make a deal with him. But Dr. Vink's like, we already made a deal. 1 night a week. That's all I wanted. And the manager is trying to get out of it. He's like, oh, we can't give you 1 night a week. How much money do you want? I'll cut you a check. And this is bad news as Dr. Vink laughs like a madman. So Peter ends up going to study the film to try to figure out why it's popular. And it seems that vampires trying to step out of the movie as he's starting to fall asleep. Little Nightmare on Elm Street action right there. So he then kind of wakes up and he goes and talks to Kate. And he's like, I know you think I'm a geek. And she's like, oh, you're not a geek. You're a nerd. And I like it. This is where Kenneth is talking about where we find out she wants the BBC.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
She is not
Which
interested
is weird
in the
because that is so un-American. Fuck England and their fucking BBC and Doctor Who shit. This is America. You watch fucking PBS. That is what they were talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
sure.
Exactly.
Just making sure.
She was expressing that she didn't want the TWC.
Oh, okay. Wait, what is TWC?
The tiny.
Oh,
white
you
dot.
motherfucker! You're talking about me. You keep it up. I'm going back to the German accent.
It gives me an erection. You go right ahead.
So they kind of like each other and are about to kiss when the manager screams. What a fucking cock block, right? Almost said clock. Oh my god, what time is it? I must be drunk already. Oh yes. But
3-hour excursion.
yes. So they go to check on him and he's totally been bit on the fucking neck. Like, oh. And I really like the bruising around the neck. I kind of looked like that when Franz does that to me when we're in the middle of singing songs by Right Said Fred. Okay. So as they leave the room, I really like the hand of the shadow of the vampire on the wall. That was really fucking dope. So they tried to get out and the door was locked and they couldn't get out. And then it opens to the vampire. So he sends Katie to go get the last reel of the film on the screen because he's got a plan. But the vampire hears her fucking around up there and he leaves Pete to go fuck with Katie. So the vampire enters the projection room and she ends up starting the film, which causes him to run. Pete gets on stage. It enters the film all Videodrome style, connection to our previous episode. Also, this is a double Canadian connection. This is getting fucking serious. So he ends up killing the vampire by getting the vampire to come into the screen and then removing the curtain so the sun shines on him. And then he goes back into the world. And there's more hugging. The manager is woken up. And Vink is there. And he congratulates him and agrees. The manager agrees to give him one night a week. But Vink, he doesn't need it now as he has bought the theater and he can show his films all fucking week. Yeah. So we go back to the Midnight Society as the younger kids kind of chicken out Fright Night and give the tickets to the other one. And then, so the older two kids end up going to Fright Night. So they totally fucking scammed these kids out of their tickets completely.
Yeah, they did.
Which I think is pretty funny.
That's great of them.
I would do it. So yeah, that is my episode that I chose. And like I said earlier, I actually didn't really have any remembrance. And I got this from my buddy Jerry. She gave me 2 episodes to pick from. And this was one of them. And it kind of sold me. I was like, yeah, without a doubt. I really like this episode because a lot of you know I really like classic monster movies. And I thought this was kind of like classic monster movie meets an 80s classic with popcorn. Or is that 90? Is popcorn 1990?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I think it's 1990. But it has like kind of the similar thing to popcorn, which is pretty fucking cool. 1991 is popcorn. So I really dug it. Kenneth, how did you feel about this episode?
I enjoyed it. I actually like this one a little better than the pinball one because I'm kind of the same as you. It hits home, because you got movies, classic fucking monster movie, a lot of references to one of the most classic of the horror genre, which is Nosferatu, which is like one of, if not the first of the horror film genre. I don't know if there's any before that. I can't remember. But I think Nosferatu was one of, if not the first horror film.
There was, because Thomas Edison actually did a Frankenstein movie, 19. Fuck.
Fuck Thomas Edison.
I mean, I agree with you. Fuck Thomas Edison and all that shit. He fucking electrified elephants. He's an asshole. Mm-hmm. But no, it was not. There were horror movies before Nosferatu. But Nosferatu was probably the first big one, though.
Right. So I would have to say that, damn, all those things included, I mean, with us being movie buffs that we are, it would, and horror movie buffs at that, it would probably hit home to all of us, except for maybe Jay. Jay doesn't watch movies before the 80s.
Yeah, ask the German dude. The German dude said you don't watch movies that are before the 80s because they don't involve Keanu Reeves. That's what he said.
Listen, will you
No,
leave
you
my
listen.
husband's name out your mouth, first of all?
He was a bad actor sometimes, though.
It doesn't matter, because he kills people good.
Yeah, he didn't kill people good in Bram Stoker's Dracula, though.
That was a terrible movie overall.
That movie is really good, and you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't understand the erotic erection that you can have while watching such things.
I understand all the erections.
Obviously, you don't. There's a werewolf fucking in a graveyard in that movie, and it's fucking wonderful.
Great scene.
It's so good. Sometimes I just put that on loop while I listen to industrial music like Combi Christ.
I love Combi Christ. I've seen them live several times and have a picture with me and the lead singer.
I've seen them
Yeah.
twice.
I have never seen them because I'm pretty sure if I had seen them, there would be someone getting arrested for sexual assault, and I just can't have that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, Jay, what did you think of this episode?
I loved it. I love the setting. I'm definitely that kid. I love movies so much. And despite what you think, I like all movies from all the years. I just don't have attachments to them. That's all. God.
Oh, but if someone talks shit about The
assholes.
Matrix, you get all angry.
Yeah, because that's an amazing movie and people don't understand it.
Ghost
I
in the
do
Shell.
understand it. I just liked it better when it was Ghost in the Shell.
I knew that was coming.
He says it every single time, but there's no
Oh.
fucking android cops in The Matrix.
There could be. Technically.
Oh, there's these
But-
weird ghost werewolf things.
I wasn't sure if the footage from Nosferatu was real. That's why I asked. But if it was real, that would have been cool. But recreating it was pretty cool of them. I like that the vampire was still black and white when he came out of the movie. Well, I guess his face is white and his robe is black anyway, so it wouldn't really matter, would it?
No, but it's still dope.
But yeah, just the whole setting, and it ended up being the perfect episode for our show too. That the episode you chose was about a horror movie special screening in a movie theater by people who just love film.
For sure. So I've also got some cool information on this. Dr. Vink's movie was based on the 1922 silent movie Nosferatu. But obviously was not the actual film. In the real movie, the vampire was named Count Orlok, and in the movie, the vampire did not win. We've got some characters that show up in other movies. Chris Heyerdahl. You know what? Actors, change your fucking names to easier to pronounce shit. Okay? I need you to do that.
Yeah, like Army Hammer.
Yeah. God damn it. Would soon reappear in 2 episodes later, The Tale of the 13th Floor. Harry Stanjovsky, who betrayed Mr. Kristoff, which was the manager, would later appear in a few years afterwards in The Tale of the Wisdom Glass. This is Dr. Vink's second appearance. His next appearance would be in The Tale of the Dangerous Soup.
The Tale of the Dangerous Soup.
Yes. And this is also the second time the character referred to as Dr. Vink has said that he is not a nutbag. Or the second time he's referred to him and a nutbag in the same sentence. Apparently the first one not. In case you did not know, Nosferatu is an anagram of Fear Us Not, which is a lie. You should definitely fear vampires.
I did not know that.
And then, of course, Christopher Heyerdahl, who played Nosferatu, would later go on to play a vampire in the Twilight movies. So, overall, I fucking loved this episode, and I really can't speak higher of it. It was awesome, and it also gave me hope that we could really make a... can we make a movie about Candyman as a kid? Look, I want to see what happened to Candyman before he grew up and turned into Candyman.
What would...
I don't know. Call Clive Barker. That's his job.
I
I just
just
give
don't
ideas.
understand.
What do you mean don't understand?
How would that be entertaining?
Don't you want to know how Candyman got to become Candyman?
He tells
Watch
us.
Midnight
They,
Meat
set him
Train.
on fire or some shit like that.
Candyman didn't get set on fire.
I don't remember. You know how long it's been since I watched Candyman?
I love Candyman. All right, well, let's move it on now. We are shooting it over to Kenneth. Go ahead.
My episode is The Tale of the Magician's Assistant. It first aired on September 11th, 1993. It is episode 11 in season 2, as I have previously stated earlier in this episode. Basically, the gist of it is Midnight Society tells a story of a kid whose dad dies, and he's looking for a job to help his mom. He goes, he gets a job as a magician's assistant. He does some stupid shit. Then he gets better at his stupid shit. Learns a life lesson. Episode over. The end.
Wait, I could have just done that.
No, absolutely fucking not. What was that fucking cop out?
I mean, there you go. That's the end of it.
Oh God, do you not? Do I have to do this?
No, actually, other than remembering the names,
Todd Marco is the kid's name.
Okay, cool. Yeah, actually, at the beginning of it, you got one of the kids from the Midnight Society, and I can't remember their names. And
I don't know their names. Yeah,
it's a standing thing for me not to remember names when we're doing this fucking podcast.
I don't remember names ever. So.
Okay. It's my turn. Anyway, so one kid comes up. He's sitting around the campfire area, and he's talking about how bad he hates one of his teachers. If I'm not mistaken, the teacher's name was Drago. Wasn't that right, Jerry?
Yeah, I actually think it was something like that. I didn't write. I don't really write down much from the society because no one really gives a shit what they say.
Yeah, but he was talking about that, and then the other guy, the guy with the glasses, says, I think it's the guy with the glasses. He says that the teacher is actually a magician, and he always buys tricks and stuff from his dad's magic store. And then we go into a story about a kid who's trying to get a job as a magician's assistant, and it opens up telling the story, like I said, where it's talking about how his father died, and his mom is struggling really hard because she works at an advertising agency, and she's struggling really hard to make ends meet, stuff like that, which I thought was kind of weird because normally people that work at advertising agencies make pretty good money. She
could be in massive debt from the father dying. True.
Yeah, he could have been a deadbeat and didn't get a life insurance policy. And so he decides he's going to try out for to be a magician's assistant. So he goes to where the ad in the paper or whatever. And when he gets there, he sees it's your typical, like any of the carnival type shit. You see basically a cart. And sitting there, and it's got magician stuff on the side of it and whatever. He goes around to the back. He goes up inside. He opens the door like most of the time they do when nobody comes to the fucking door. Let's just walk into a stranger's place and start looking around at shit. And he strolls in, and when he gets in there, he's looking around and whatever. He can't find the guy. He's like, fuck this, pretty much, and he's going to go to leave. And when he turns around, the magician is standing in front of the door, wondering if he's leaving so soon. And they get to talking, and the kid Todd tries to convince the great, I think it's the great Shandu
the Magnificent.
Shandu the Magnificent. There we go. Tries to convince him how awesome he's going to be, just like in the previous episode that we talked about how good he would be, how hard of a worker or whatever. And
I like when he's like, "Do you have any experience?" He's like, "Yeah, I worked for Phil the Fabulous."
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And he just replies with, "So you have no experience?"
Yeah. And the kid turns around and he sees this thing that is fucking weird looking to me. It looks like 2 or 3 trees braided together, sitting there. And he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And he goes to grab it, and the magician's like, "No, don't touch that. It's a magician's wand." And he starts with the rules of magic, and one of the rules is not to touch another magician's wand unless he hands it to him.
Yeah, and he starts explaining it. He's like, and I really like this because we were talking about in Pinball Wizard, someone looking like a Deadite. He says, Deadite sorcerers use wand like this for 1,000 years.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And so, and he hands it to him to show exactly what it means, which I thought was a little odd, but okay. And so he hands it to him. And that's actually a rule amongst magicians is you don't touch another magician's wand unless they show it to you or hand it to you or whatever.
I have that same rule about penises.
I've never asked to touch your.
You've had permission forever. But like, if I don't know you, we don't touch each other's dicks unless I, hand you my penis.
Okay, both of y'all have from here on out. Both of y'all have my permission to touch my dick.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, totally. But yeah, so it goes into that, and then he's like, okay, I'll give you a shot. And then we go through this montage of him, basically showing him shit, and the kid keeps fucking up and blah, blah, blah. And then we come to another rule, which is, and I may be leaving out a rule, I can't remember. But we come to another rule about never get yourself caught, never your own reflection in the mirror. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, never get caught in your own reflection.
Never get caught in your own reflection, which is basically an old magician's thing, because a lot of times tricks for magicians use mirrors. And so, damn, you don't want to fucking show your reflection in the mirror because it fucks the trick up. And that's actually another legit rule.
Well, only let them
magicians.
see what you want them to see is the other rule.
Right. And so, yeah, he finally gets him good and trained up and blah, blah, blah. And they go to do their first show. And if I'm not mistaken, did he give him the bow tie before or after?
He gave it to him before. So Todd basically, after doing this whole training montage, he goes, it's okay to lighten up sometimes. You're always in a nasty mood. And the magician explains that he is a has-been, and that his movies aren't even on video. You can't even fucking rent them at your local Blockbuster. So he gave him the tie that he wore for his very first performance, which is kind of creepy, but, Todd's kind of weird anyway, because he was like, earlier when he was eating, he just like pulled a fork out of his flannel vest pocket because he didn't want to use chopsticks. And I mean, I agree, fuck chopsticks, but who keeps a fork just in their flannel pocket?
Why not?
I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, so it's before it is Canada. They're fucking weird up there. But yeah, he gave the bow tie to him right before.
They don't frown on prostitution. It's still illegal, but they don't frown on it.
Yeah, and they do have poutine, and I do love poutine.
Yeah, that is some pretty good shit.
Oh my god, it's so good. Anyway, continue, Kenneth.
Damn.
Now I'm hungry.
I totally lost my train of thought on poutine and fucking sluts.
Yeah, so you were at the part right before they do their first performance together.
Right, and they do their first performance, and it's fucking great. They do a great job. And the kid basically wants some self-recognition afterwards, and the magician kind of inadvertently gives it to him or whatever. And then if I'm not mistaken, he ends up going home to tell his mom about it, and she's busy or whatever. And he ends up going back to see him. And at this point, I think when he gets in there, he goes into the cart or trailer or whatever. He goes in there and everything's all fucked up. The animals and shit are everywhere. It basically looks like somebody had just raided that place looking for something or whatever. It looks like fucking Dr. Jones's house in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade when they're looking for the diary. And he's just like, oh my God, he tries to fix it or whatever. And for some reason he gets the idea to grab the wand and Shandu can do. And everything goes back to normal, and it kind of reminded me of, what's that Disney movie where fucking Mickey
Fantasia?
Mouse? Yeah. Fantasia. It kind of reminded me of that for a second, even though Mickey didn't really fix anything. He just fucked shit up. But yeah, and so that's the first time that he uses the wand without permission. And so he does that, and then where'd it go after that, Jerry?
Shandu shows back up, and of course, Todd lies about anything happening.
Right.
And he once again goes to tell his mom the story, but she's too hard, and she's like, wake me up in an hour. And T sees his fake fucking plant from S-Mart. And he takes it to Shandu.
Yeah, but see, you're leaving out the key thing. She has to get woke up in an hour because she has a new project that she has to do for her job, and she has to have it done quickly. And it's gonna she's got to like work nights and shit like that to get it done. And he wants to help out his mom, so he fucking goes back over there. That's where he takes the plant, the tree, the S-Mart tree, and he goes back to Shandu's thing, and he fucking basically steals the wand,
hits him with that Indiana Jones switch off.
Right. Yeah, and puts his mom's tree in its place, and he goes back to the apartment, and Shandu can do her work and makes all the advertising stuff just appear.
Yeah,
and
Can you imagine being a child with reality warping abilities and the first thing you think of is to help your mom out? That's some selflessness right there.
That's so sweet.
Only in Canada.
But yeah, so after this is when, isn't that where the fairy pops up?
Yes, the ghost shows up.
Yeah. And she sits there and she says, "Oh, you know, the wand will do whatever you want it to do and blah, blah, blah. Use it as much as you want." You know, and she was kind of hot. So I probably would have kept using the wand. Yeah.
But then you find out.
Yeah. Sorry.
The awful truth.
I went into a really deep, dark spot in the gutter real quick.
He was imagining that blowjob scene from the original Ghostbusters.
Fuck yeah.
You better swallow, Nazrak.
You know what I told my son when we were watching Ghostbusters and that scene happened? I told him that the ghost was changing his diaper.
I would have said the ghost is giving him a raspberry.
No, because the only thing you really see is the ghost undoing his pants and start pulling his pants down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so he was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, because I completely forgot about that. And he's like, "Daddy, the ghost is undoing his pants." And I'm like, "It's changing his diaper, son." I swear to God, dude. But it worked.
Hilarious.
It worked. And then the crazy thing is, this was like fucking 3 or 4 weeks ago. And damn, he says something to me about it in the car today. He's just like, he's talking about Ghostbusters and he's talking about Slimer and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's just like, "And when that one ghost was changing his diaper," and I was like, "Oh my God, man."
He's gonna later on, like in 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, he's gonna be watching the movie again and be like, "That motherfucker lied to me. That ghost is sucking dick. Hold on a second. Dad, come here. Dad, come here. You said he was changing his diaper. That is clearly a blowjob, Dad."
Come on, no. But think about this. I mean, you got to think about what else could I think I did pretty good coming up.
Oh no,
with
you did.
story
That was
off the top of my
quick
head.
thinking.
Yeah, because I was like, "Oh fuck," you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was quick thinking. That was some Clint Eastwood fucking Man with No Name shit right there.
Yeah, I mean, so, but the cool thing about that is now I don't have to tell him to cover his eyes every time we watch Ghostbusters because that's what he'll think.
Yeah, next time you're just watching porn. Oh yeah, he's just changing the diaper. When you're watching Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, oh yeah, she's rewarding him for getting her dog.
Dude, when we
by
watched that,
changing his
diaper.
I
was on top of that, man. When me and Jade watched Ace Ventura, I was like fucking 5 minutes before that scene happened. You know, while he's still in the car riding down the road trying not to get fucked up by that dude while he's got the dog. I was like, "Jade, turn your head."
To be honest, you know what? To be honest, though, when I watched that movie as a kid, it never occurred to me that that was something sexual. Ever.
Really?
Yeah, like, I remember watching that movie as a kid, like, when it came out, and, like, that scene, like, I knew there was sexual stuff in the movie because, of the scene later, but that scene, it never occurred to me that that was sexual whatsoever.
Dude, if you go back and you watch that movie now, man, there's some seriously fucked up shit in Ace Ventura.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But anyhow, getting back to it, where the fuck was I? Oh, yeah, the ferry. That's where I was at. And then, God, where does it go right after that? I can't remember now.
He takes the wand back and is caught by Shandu.
Right.
Shandu explains that Nazrak is a demon who is imprisoned for being a powerful magician. If Nazrak is released, it will return us to the Dark Ages. So he kicks Todd out, but Todd comes back to give him his bow tie, only to find the truck on fire and Shandu is trapped. Todd uses the wand again, and it looks like he released Nazrak. And Shandu has taken his place in the vortex.
Do you see why, everybody out there listening, do you see why Jerry is our fearless leader?
Because he's so smart.
Yeah, he's so much better at this than me and Jay. You know, me and Jay are good at running our mouths on the back of Jerry. I love running my mouth on the back
So
of
if we
Jerry.
do this again, I'm going to have to do, like, all of the episodes.
Well, now I know what I'm supposed to do and write down the entire plot so I don't forget.
No, right,
enough.
there we go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I fucking gave a pretty good synopsis.
Half
Half of your synopsis was, he does a bunch of shit.
Hey, man, it worked. I went from the beginning to the end, closing point, ball game, done.
All right, so I'm going to lead you back off and put you, he ends up,
back off, sweetheart.
Todd goes back to his apartment to be confronted by his mom.
Oh yeah, that's right. And she actually isn't there. Isn't that the part where she's not there? Like it's Nazareth like imitating his mom or something like that?
Correct.
Yes.
She is out doing that classic 90s thing where her brown paper bag breaks and her fruit falls out.
Right. And so he's sitting there trying to figure it out, and then Nazareth is threatening to mess up his mom and stuff like that because he's not going to use the wand or won't give him the wand, and Nazareth is wanting him to hand it to him because if he hands him the wand, then he basically gives it over to him. And so once Nazareth starts threatening his mom, he's like, okay, I'll give it to you. And so he gives it to him. And while Nazareth is doing that natural, I'm going to fuck shit up and explains his whole plan and blah, 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 like everybody does in these movies, the kid comes up with a plan and he fucking stands in front of a mirror.
Well, he gets kind of his plan because Shandu shows up in a toaster.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Shandu
and tells him
up
to
in a
use
toaster.
the rules of magic, which gives him the idea.
Right. And so, yeah, he ends up, and then Nazareth basically says, oh, I told you your mom is going to be safe, but I didn't say anything about you. And he goes to, shoot the dark side out of the end of that wand. And when he does, then the kid's standing in front of a mirror and he moves out of the way and he uses Nazareth's reflection against him.
Is that your pickup line for women? Hey, you want to come back to my place and I'll shoot the dark side out of my wand?
I don't know. We'll find that out. I'll give that a try and see how good it works, and I'll let y'all know.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, never get caught in your own reflection.
Yep. And then, which basically causes damn Nazareth to go back to the vortex, and damn Shandu comes back out, and Shandu says, you're worthy, blah, 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 and he leaves the wand with the kid and then disappears into fucking some magical oblivion, and we hear a couple of minutes later from the Midnight Society that Todd never sees him again.
Correct. His mom comes in and is just like, you're never going to believe the night I've had, and he smiles.
Classic.
So classic.
So all that being said, basically what it comes down to is, kid, dead father, finds a job to help his mom, fucking goddamn gets the job, learns some life lessons, does some shit.
Yeah. Now, if people have listened to this podcast enough, they should be able to put why Kenneth picked this episode. But for the people who may be joining us for the first time, Kenneth, tell us why you picked this episode.
Because my dad was a magician. And I grew up learning things about magic. My whole life, as a matter of fact. I can remember when I was a kid, my dad would do tricks for me, making cards disappear and making things levitate and shit like that. And as I got older, my dad was constantly, I would be at his house and he'd be doing different new tricks and stuff like that and practicing them and asking me how well they looked because he would sit down in front of the mirror and he would practice them over and over again and stuff like that. I mean, my dad was really into it. He was into antique stuff for magicians and stuff like that. And then on top of that, my dad was a pagan. So the magic with a C and magic with a K was always part of my life growing up. And so that was one of it appeals to me because I grew up so much around this type of thing and around this world where we went and saw magic shows and we went to magic shops and things like that. As a matter of fact, that was one of the main places we used to go to when we went to California. There was a magic shop that my dad used to love to go to called Brad Burt's, and it's where not only could you get like the novelty tricks and stuff like that, but you also could get the real deal big time shit that you saw on TV. And so it was always part of my life, and that's the reason why I chose this one.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And I'm assuming you absolutely loved this episode.
I thought it was great. I mean, a lot of the things that were in it was, like I said, the rules, those are actually magic rules, that kind of thing. I like the fact that they went a little bit into how some of the tricks were done, but they didn't drastically do it because that's another one of the rules amongst magicians is you never tell how the trick is done. And so now with the information age that we got, you can get on fucking YouTube and learn how to do shit.
It's kind of like Fight Club. You show up to Fight Club and it's like first rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club, but then the next time you show up, there's more people. And the same way with magicians, like, you're not supposed to tell how the trick is done, but obviously it's told because more people learn it.
Yeah, I mean, once you get into the world of it, you know, like I said, with the information age, you know, it's different now. But then when I was a kid and when my dad was a kid, once you get into the world, it literally is like a fucking Alice's rabbit hole, man. I mean, once you go further and further and further into it, you can learn so many different things. And I mean, like, I've got some of my dad's old books and they are leather bound with locks on them from like the you know, the late 19th century, early 20th century. So, you know, and I've still got those because those were some of my dad's prized possessions. And that's the way it was. You know, you just had to, it wasn't about what you knew, it was about who you knew for you to be able to learn how to do these things.
Exactly. So, Jay, how did you feel about this episode?
I really liked it. I didn't have a magician father. I had an absentee father, so I taught myself magic because I missed him so much. No, I. Damn, that didn't go over as well as I thought.
Great. Oh my god.
I grew up just enjoying magic in general. I used to watch magic specials all the time.
Oh my god, that was such a huge thing in the 90s.
Oh, it
the
really
magic
was.
Specials.
I taught myself a few card tricks. I bought a couple of prop tricks that I could carry with me. So I just enjoy magic. Probably close to as much as Kenneth does. And then Kenneth, if you haven't seen it, Fool Me on TV. Penn and Teller's Fool Me is fantastic.
I fucking love Penn and Teller, man. Those guys are fucking nuts.
Have you seen that show?
Yeah, those guys are fucking nuts, man.
They are. But anyway, so I enjoyed that aspect. I recognized the same things that Kenneth recognized as the rules being real, and those tricks that he was teaching them are real tricks with real gimmicks that he would have to learn. And I liked the story too. I thought it was a good concept. I thought it was executed really well. You know, they only get 20 minutes to introduce the episode, the kids, the story. Get to the conflict and then end it. And so with that limited amount of time, I thought they did really well. And it was one of those episodes that could also really be stretched into a full-length movie too, with the concept it has. A little bit more character development, more interaction with the demon and learning magic and stuff. And you could easily stretch this to a 90-minute movie.
Definitely, I agree, man.
I enjoyed what we got out of it. It reminded me a little bit of I don't know what it reminded me of.
It reminded me of that Clive Barker book series that's about magic. That's a little bit more like young teen focused.
I don't know that one.
Kenneth does.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
I can't either, but it kind of reminded me of that.
Is that a Magica?
Yes, a Magica. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought this was a really fun one. I really liked the whole Shandu can do. I liked using the rules of magic. I thought it was great that Shandu had a backstory of being like a really popular magician who's now a has-been. That was really fucking dope.
He just needs to go get him a show in Vegas.
For real.
I mean,
especially
just straight
with
up.
that wand. I think he fell out of prominence because his wand was, you know, carrying that demon.
It may have, man. I mean, that's a good theory. I mean, because like I said, most of the magicians now, that's what they do. You know, they get real famous and then they do their shows in Vegas.
Yeah. So
like David Copperfield's even still doing fucking shows in Vegas, man.
What happened to Chris Angel? I know he's kind of like the
Didn't
Carlos
he fuck
Mencia.
up and like get blacklisted?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's like the Carlos Mencia of fucking magic, right?
Yeah, he totally like. All right, he got caught stealing tricks from other people, like straight up stealing tricks from other people. And the thing about it is it's like, okay, you're obviously gonna have some magicians that do tricks that are similar, and some of them are fucking just straight up the same tricks. Because if it was created by a magician fucking 200 years ago, you're gonna have people that are gonna do the same trick. No, he was not only doing the trick, he was ripping off somebody's entire presentation of the trick. Okay. And so the presentation part of how you do the trick is unique to each magician. They all have their different way of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you do the trick, the mismade girl, and it's where you basically got a chick in a box, and she fucking they move her around and stuff like.
And then Kenneth fucks her.
and all right, and the thing about it is a lot of magicians do that trick. You know what I'm saying? Or do one of the tricks where you got a girl levitating, and then you pull the damn sheet off of her or something like that, and then put a ring around her to make sure that there's no wires or anything like that. That's a common trick, but how you present it to the audience is what makes it unique to you. And Chris Angel was straight ripping those off. And he always said on his show that they weren't using camera tricks. Well, come to find out, there were camera tricks in his show.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And so once people that were out in the quote unquote audience, because a lot of those people out there were fucking paid to be out there, which is not uncommon. People were coming forward and being like, when Chris Angel blew up, people were coming forward and being like, okay, yeah, he really is using camera tricks. This is not how it happened. And
I gotta look into all that.
Yeah, once all that shit started coming out, man. Oh yeah, dude. He just fell out of fame, or fell out of the fucking limelight at that point.
Yeah, because it's great because like him and Carlos Mencia kind of happened at like the same time, where they were just like the biggest fucking things ever, and then it was like, oh yeah, well they stole everything and they lied.
Yeah,
and now you don't. When's the last time you've heard either one of those names?
For me, Chris Angel is a little bit more often because I've still got some of his shit. Because I'm not gonna lie, some of Chris Angel's tricks are fucking badass. I mean, some of the ones that I know for a fact are tricks because I've seen other people do them. His presentation for some of these tricks are amazing. I will give him credit. He is a good showman. He just fucked up. He just made a mistake, and he shouldn't have done it. Just like Dane Cook.
Yep.
It's just like Dane Cook. He was great. I loved his stage presence. I loved watching his show and stuff like that. He just stood and stole jokes.
Yeah, with Dane, there's one joke that commonly gets called that Dane Cook stole, where I was just like, to me, that it was more of like that was the people having the same thought over a common thing. Like, with Mayhem and the Belko experiment coming out at the same time. It's common ideas that just happen to get bankrolled at the same time.
Wasn't it Dan Cook that just blatantly ripped off Doug Stanhope?
Yeah, there is one instance where Dane Cook like straight up stole some Doug
Stanhope. It was damn
shit.
near word for word.
Yeah. Which is why I know some of them are, but there's another one that I've seen where they claimed he stole something where I was just like, it was something about like ass itching or something, and I was just like, no, everyone has ass itching. Like that's just a legit thing.
Right. So
making a joke over that. But yeah, he did straight up steal other like straight up jokes, word for word, and he fucked up real bad when he stole Doug Stanhope's because,
Doug Stanhope somebody out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Fucking Doug don't play. I love Doug. If y'all don't know, Doug Stanhope is my favorite comedian of all time.
He's hilarious.
He is great. I've seen him live. He's amazing. I absolutely adore him. His comedy may not be for you because it covers everything, and two, if you get easily offended, you are not going to like this. He doesn't do shock humor for the sake of shock humor. It's very well done and very well thought out. But yeah, but anyway, so.
But there was a magician overseas that David Copperfield had this very, very, very awesome fucking trick that he did a lot of times at the end of his show. It was his flying illusion. And basically, motherfucker goddamn levitated off the fucking stage like fucking Peter Pan and flew around the room.
He is a lord of illusions.
Oh, man, it is a fucking beautiful trick. It's amazing. And I mean, literally, like, he'll fucking stick his goddamn hand out like Peter Pan and everything and fly around the room. It's awesome. Funny. He'll fly through rings and shit like that. And if I remember correctly, he flew inside of a fucking plexiglass box, stayed in the box and levitated when they closed it shut on top of him. And then moved the box around like the fucking plexiglass thing that they had goddamn Tommy Lee in when he was doing drums. And David Copperfield was sitting Indian style, levitating in the air while the box was moving around.
Damn.
And then he flew back out. It's one of the best tricks I've ever seen. Well, a dude from overseas figured it out, and damn, he blatantly copied it. I mean, just straight up.
Was like overseas, like in China?
I don't think it was in China. It was a European country, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, then that counts. Because if it's China, it doesn't count. When you rip something off in China, that's just China.
Right. But no, this was like a European country or something, because I know he sued the fuck out of that guy, man.
Oh, yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
Though I do kind of want, like, is there copyright to a magician's trick? Or if someone, like backwards engineers it, can they now do it as long as they change the presentation?
I think you can copyright the gimmick, which is the mechanism that makes the trick work. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if, like, you can, his method for levitation can be copyrighted, but the act of levitating cannot be.
Right. So
is there, if we raid the patent office, will we find out how he does the trick?
Probably.
Fuck Area 51. Let's go figure out how fucking Copper
because not only
this.
they can patent the gimmick, like Jay said, which is basically the mechanism of how the trick works, and he can also copyright his stage show. He can copyright how he presents the trick. So
like the choreography.
Right. So if he's using it as a flying illusion, which is basically him Peter Panning around the damn room, then he can copyright that. So the guy would have to do something different and use a completely different mechanism.
Oh, okay. So listen, you can, according to Google anyway, you can copyright. Sorry, I just lost my place. You can copyright dramatic works and choreographic works. You can't technically copyright the magic trick. You can only copyright the pantomime surrounding the trick. So the performance of that trick can't be copyrighted. So if somebody is taking the exact same devices and exact same setup and doing the same trick, then that's when they've broken your copyright.
Interesting. All right, well, we're going to get back on topic here.
Welcome to the Magic Podcast.
Yeah. Actually, Magic the Gathering. We're going to be talking about my Valakut deck, which did very well back in the day.
All right, so Jay, basically what you're saying is that the mechanism can't be copyrighted, but the presentation can be.
Yeah, so I was
okay.
wrong.
Yeah, that goes right. So that goes back to what I was saying earlier when we were talking about it, where you've got tricks that they do, but how they do it, how they present it to the audience, like I said earlier, is what Chris Angel essentially stole.
Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of people that, of course, really the only information I could find out in this episode, which was kind of a bummer. I assumed with all the magic stuff there'd be some cool information, but it's mostly just people who appeared in other episodes. Noah Pindler, who played Todd Marker, also appeared in season 1's episode The Tale of the Twisted Claw as Dougie Freeman. Noah Pindler is the brother of Benjamin Pindler, and Benjamin Pindler appeared in the episodes The Tale of Jake and the Leprechaun and the series revival episode The Tale of Highway 13 as Justin. James Bradford, who played Shandu, appeared years later in the series revival as General Lang Candle in The Tale of the Silver Sight 3-part special. And Mark Brolamillo, who played Nazrak the Demon, later reappeared in The Tale of Cutter's Treasure as Mr. Noise. So that's pretty exciting. So those are 3 episodes. If you would like us to do a volume 2 of Are You Afraid of the Dark, or maybe do Goosebumps or X-Files or fucking Tales from the Quipped. I've been listening to too many podcasts that are doing advertisements for that Quip toothbrush. Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone, fucking any kind of horror TV show you want us to do 3 random episodes that we get to choose, let us know. Maybe we'll do another one of these. It was pretty fucking fun. Do you want on the next episode for everyone to do their own choice, or do I do all of them? Y'all let me know. You don't get a fucking vote, Jay. The audience gets the vote. Really fun. Jay, thank you for choosing this. Next episode, I get to choose. So we are doing a horror coliseum, and we are going to tackle the most important question in horror, the greatest debate that has ever happened, because I am here to right the wrong. There has been slander thrown, and I have to stand up and take care of it. So we are going into the Horror Coliseum to find out which is the actual worst movie in the Jaws franchise. We are putting Jaws 3D versus Jaws the Revenge in the Coliseum because I am tired of all you motherfuckers out there saying that Jaws the Revenge is the worst. It's not. It's Jaws the 3D. Go fuck yourself. I'm going to prove that shit by taking the Horror Coliseum format, which provides us with trying to be as least biased as we can. And I have to, I don't get to convince. Kenneth and Jay will have their scores already before we actually sit down to do the Horror Coliseum. And I am hoping that they will realize that Jaws the Revenge...
Jaws 4 is a better movie.
Well, don't fucking tell them now, Kenneth. I'm trying to build up suspense.
It don't mean shit, though. Because when I actually sit down and I do my scores, what is going to be technically better?
Yeah.
It comes
there
out,
we go.
It's unbiased. So what's going to be technically better? Just because I think that Jaws 4 is better than Jaws 3 doesn't mean that technically it will be.
Oh, it is. Oh, it fucking is. So, yeah, that's what's going to be the next episode. Episode after that will be up to Kenneth to choose. That will be in September. So, that's where we're... you know what? I've never seen Inception.
It's good.
Is it a horror movie?
No.
Oh, then we can't do it. Get the fuck... Is it an action movie?
Jay, is it
sort of?
Yeah, kind of.
It has action in it, but it's not like an Arnold or a Stallone action movie.
Okay? So I'm asking because can it be a Jerry hates action? Because y'all can pick a Jerry hates action.
I doubt it.
No.
Okay, then no, we're not doing
sci-fi.
It's a cerebral movie.
Yeah,
okay, we're not doing that. We'll see what Kenneth ends up picking. We've got the next.
Let's see. Okay, everybody out there that fucking goddamn is listening to this podcast, who would like to hear us fucking do Inception? May not be a horror movie, but I want to hear it. If there's anybody out there that fucking wants us to do Inception, you tell us in the damn group or on the main page, or I don't give a fuck. Send me a message on the goddamn page. And if I can get enough people, we'll do it. Fuck Jerry. I don't give a shit. We're going to do something.
All right, then. I guess I'm going to get overthrown. We've got the next Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space episode will be Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. And if you saw in the Facebook group, I have 3 more sidecasts that are going to be coming up. None of them have like select formats or exactly how they're going to be done, like when they'll be released. They'll kind of be released whenever I fucking choose to do them. Which I've got Cult Unknown with my Jerry Cortez, aka Venom from Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. We are going to be getting into the world of paranormal, cryptozoology, conspiracy theory, aliens, and how Jay got a wife. So those are going to be fun.
She's cute too. I like her. She got a
then
great rack.
Then I've got Atomic Age Saucer Cast, which will be me, Court Psyops from Cinema Psyops.
Did you just say Atomic Age Saucer Cat?
No, Atomic Age Saucer Cast.
Oh, okay.
But me, Court Psyops from Cinema Psyops, Darren Wilson from the Psychosemantic Podcast, and Paul Stevenson from Who Will Survive. We will be tackling all kind of like 50s and 60s sci-fi classics. And then the big one is the Midnight Horror Debate, which will be me and 4 guests as we tackle a topic. It looks like the first topic actually might end up being what movie hurt its franchise the most.
I want
which
in.
will be very, very interesting. Hopefully soon I will actually like pick a date and throw out a date. And when I have the date for when the recording is going to happen, that is when people who are available for the date can throw their name in the hat, and then we will pick who will be there.
I'm going to try to be a special guest on the cult one.
Oh yeah, on Cult Unknown for sure. Jay, you won on the Midnight Horror Debate. You've lost like every debate with me you've ever had. Now I won't be doing much debating on the show though. I'm going to be more moderating and maybe playing some devil's advocate action.
I'm a good debater.
You're a good masturbator. There's a difference.
I'm a master debater.
Yeah, this is not the Midnight Circle Jerk.
It could be.
No, but Jay, you of course can come on. The Midnight Horror Debate is obviously the harder, bigger show to do, so I don't know when that's going to be coming. But hopefully in September, we will have Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, or a Cult Unknown, or an Atomic Age Saucercast that will actually come out. Those are just going to be fun side projects that I will do whenever the hell I feel like doing it. It will not affect the 2 episodes of Kill the Cast that will, of course, come out every month. These are more just side projects for me to take up my time. With that being said,
We're going to do Twilight.
Else. We are going to replace Kenneth on the podcast.
I'm the fuck out.
How about the Covenant?
Covenant. Did I see that one?
That's a good movie.
I don't give a shit. Pick whatever you fucking want as long as it's horror.
Snap.
Or action, and we can do a Jerry Hates Action. That's up to you, but
the fans will tell me.
Y'all get in Kenneth's ear and tell him what you want. Other than that, we are in all the normal places. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. The Facebook group is honestly going to be the place we're at the most. And if you want horror memes, check out our Facebook like page. Other than that, we are fucking out. You can check us out on Legion Podcast. You can check out a bunch of other awesome shows on Legion Podcast. So make sure you give that a nice perusal. Thank you everyone who listened. If you're German and I offended you, I apologize. But your people committed 2 wars, so I think I could get a little leeway here. If I have to pay for all the shit the Americans did, you have to pay for all the shit the Germans did. So,
true.
Same boat. Jay, do you have any parting words for the people?
Next time, don't steal my fucking quote, you son of a bitch.
Well, you better... Well, you don't do them for horror coliseums, though, right?
No, but don't... Well, actually, no. I said I was going to start doing it after we ran the Freddy and Jason ones. But either way, those are my fucking thing. I'll kill you.
Oh, why don't you tell me your quote before we fucking record, and then I won't have that problem?
Because if they're funny, then I don't
how
want you to
am I
know.
supposed to know if I'm stealing them, Jay?
You just say, I'm Jerry, here's Jay.
I don't like that you're calling me fucking Chris Mencia over here, saying I stole your shit.
Chris Mencia.
When it's a fucking common thing, okay? Anyway, I will try not to steal Jay's shit. Kenneth, do you have any parting words for the people?
Yeah, don't stiff your hookers.
I thought you're supposed to get stiff for the hookers.
Yeah, but you don't want to leave them without money.
Don't you like hookers that are stiff? Why would you have to give them money? They're dead.
Because then they're not hookers anymore.
They're still hookers. If I die, I'm still a podcaster. I'm just a dead one. I'm retired.
Not anymore, you're not.
Kenneth's the kind of guy who played Grand Theft Auto and killed the hooker to get his money back.
If you die, you are no longer a podcaster. Once you die, you become a fucking stiff plaything for the pleasure of myself.
Okay, since we're recording this on the anniversary of Robin Williams, is he no longer a comedian?
Technically, no.
I mean, he's no longer anything.
And at this current moment, I'm
according to Kenneth, he's a plaything now.
I don't know if I would play with Robin Williams. I think I might feel a little bad about that.
Oh, but I'm okay to play with.
Well, yeah. I've been playing with you for years. It'd just be a continuation.
When I eventually kill myself, I'm going to make sure I do it in a way that there's nothing for you to play with.
Oh yeah, I will fuck the hole in your head.
You're like, I will get your ashes and I will somehow mold them into a pocket pussy.
I just don't see you. I just don't see you killing yourself by burning yourself to death. I just don't do that. I don't see myself doing that. Well, Jay might, but.
Yeah, no, I'm a pussy. I'm taking pills and going to sleep.
Exactly. So I will have full reign of your fucking rigid corpse. God
damn it. Okay, well, you heard it here.
And your old lady would let me.
The exclusive corpse fucking podcast. Those are, don't stiff your hooker is what Kenneth wants to leave you with. We love you. So enjoy your life. Don't stiff your hookers and don't steal Jay's opening line.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Reese. I'll give you time to mourn.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick Six Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.